Remember last year's amazing trip? That cute first birthday party? All those photos, all those memories can be freed from your phone with a Shutterfly photo book. Rediscover and share your favorite moments with those you love. You'll be amazed how easy it is to make a photo book with Shutterfly and enjoy it for years to come. Get 40% off orders over $29 with code POD40 at Shutterfly.com and make something that means something.
Have I Got News for You is back for another season. Roy Wood Jr., Amber Ruffin, and Michael Ian Black are finding the funny in the week's biggest stories. Have I Got News for You, Saturday at 9 on CNN, and stream next day on Max.
This is Optimal Relationships Daily. You answer this question wrong 10 times a day. Hear Why It Matters. By Dr. Allison Niebes-Davis of drallisonanswers.com. How many times a day do you think you're asked the question, how are you? Maybe you're asked this while checking out at the grocery store, walking into work, or getting on the bus. Maybe you're asked this while picking up your kid from school, talking with a coworker, or walking into your yoga class. In the span of a day, you're likely asked this by a friend, your manager at work, and your next-door neighbor. We hear this question so often throughout the day, both in quick and casual interactions, as well as in more meaningful interactions with people we know well. It might seem like a simple question, and you probably think your answer doesn't matter, but it does. In fact, how you answer this question has the power to dramatically change your relationships, deepen your friendships, and help you feel more connected to the people around you. I'd estimate that you get asked the question, how are you, at least 10 times a day. And I'm going to bet that nearly 95% of the time, you answer this question the same way. Good, fine, or okay. And here's the issue. This question is an opportunity for connection. Whether it's a brief connection at the store or at the gym, or a more significant connection with a new friend or a coworker. This question is an opportunity for connection, and most of us are completely missing it. When it comes to connection, vulnerability is key. Vulnerability is the root of connection. In order to develop relationships and make connections with others, you have to be willing to give a little bit of yourself. You have to be willing to take a small risk in being more authentic. You have to practice being more transparent. And answering the question, how are you, a little more authentically is the perfect place to start. Now let's be clear. This doesn't mean that you should tell strangers your deepest secrets. That's not vulnerability, that's weird and inappropriate, and it's not healthy for relationships. But you do need to take risks in showing a little more than what's on the surface. When someone asks, hey, how are you? And you answer, good, fine, or okay, you are literally telling the other person nothing about you. You're not giving them any information about your experience. You're not being transparent about your emotions. You're not giving a clue about how you're really doing. And that is a missed opportunity for connection. So, it's time to make a change. It's time to do things differently. When you get asked the question, how are you? I want you to answer with something other than good, fine, or okay. I want you to think of giving the person a little bit of truth in your answer. How much you share is dependent on the relationship you have with the person. So, how you answer this question to a cashier will be different than how you answer this question to a coworker or close friend. How vulnerable you are, how much you share, is dependent on the closeness of the relationship. Let's look at an example. Say it's Monday afternoon, and you've already had a bit of a rough day. The day isn't awful, but it's had its challenges. Let's think about how you could answer the question, how are you, in a couple of different situations. To the woman who's ringing you up at the grocery store, you might say, I'm hanging in there. It's Monday, you know? You might say that with a smile or a dose of lighthearted humor. My guess is that she'll say, oh, I hear you, but we've got this, right? Returning the smile. This exchange isn't much, but it's a moment of brief human connection. Now, let's imagine one of your work friends asks you this question. Y'all are closer, so it makes sense to give them a little more information, to be a little more vulnerable. You might say, I'm hanging in there. This morning started out a little bit rough, but it's turning around. This might prompt them to ask a follow-up question or to say that they can totally relate. Whatever their response, my guess is that it will lead to a brief back and forth, rather than the dead-end response that typically comes with good, fine, or okay. Then, maybe later in the evening, you talk with a close friend who asks how you are. And because this relationship is closer, you choose to share even more. You might say, today was a hard day. I felt kind of off at work. I'm not really sure what's going on. This response, in the context of a close relationship, leads to empathy and conversation. But most of all, it leads to connection. How are you? Seems like such a simple question. It's so easy to answer good, fine, or okay, and move on. But I promise, this is a missed opportunity for connection. And I don't care who you are or what you're dealing with, you need connection. All different levels of it. Every day, connection is a basic human need. In a day and age where we have a million different devices and demands that keep us disconnected, being intentional about connection is critical. So, you've got homework this week. Stop with the surface responses. Be intentional about being more transparent. Choose to be authentic. When someone asks, "How are you?" challenge yourself to answer something other than good, fine, or okay. You'll be amazed at the difference. You just listened to the post titled, "You Answer This Question Wrong 10 Times a Day. Hear Why It Matters," by Dr. Allison Niebes-Davis of drallisonanswers.com.
I can say to my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, "Hey, find a keto-friendly restaurant nearby," and text it to Beth and Steve. And it does, without me lifting a finger. So I can get in more squats anywhere I can. 1, 2, 3.
Will that be cash or credit?
Credit. 4.
Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps. Requires Google Gemini account. Results may vary based on input. Check responses for accuracy.
Build a routine with Ollie that supports your wellness needs, like getting your daily vitamins and minerals with Ollie's multi-gummies, or keeping your mood upbeat with all the vitamin D in Hello Happy. Give your gut health some support with probiotics, and wake up feeling refreshed after taking Ollie Sleep. Do wellness on your terms. Find Ollie at a Walmart or Target near you or at ollie.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This article now is so wonderful, and something I personally try to work on a whole lot, actually. I love the focus of it, and I love some of the examples she uses. For what it's worth, one response I find myself having when I'm trying to practice being more honest during these exchanges is usually something along the lines of, some ups and downs recently, but I'm working on it. Even if things have been particularly tough, I find there's still a lot of truth in that response, as there are still ups or things to be grateful for. And I personally am always cognizant of when something is off with me and trying to improve upon it, whether that improvement means making specific changes, being more accepting, or whatever the situation may call for. But as far as making an effort to be more open and communicative goes, what's great is that this step is so measurable and it's easy to practice, and you have so many opportunities to do it. When it comes to intangible areas of growth like this, like feeling more connected and being more open, it's really nice to have some really specific forms of measurement like this to lean back on. So again, I really appreciate this advice from Dr. Allison. I say this a lot, but it is very simple and very effective. Now, that is going to do it for today, everybody. I have absolutely bent your ear in this outro. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy what's left of the weekend if you're listening in real time. And do be sure to come on back tomorrow for another narration. That's where your optimal life awaits.